Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Black Brain Trust. Today is Friday, September 28th, 2018. Today is our economics hangout. I am one of your co-hosts, Lionel, with my other co-host here, Mike. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, brother. Yourself?
I am well. Thanks for asking. Also, we have anti-gravity. How you doing today, anti-gravity from Business What Power?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
All right. And we have Nagone. How you doing today, Nagone?
What's up, baby?
All right, all right. I'd like to express all the topics talked about today is of our opinion. If you need any professional advice, please go to cfp.net. There you can put in your city, state, and zip code and find a certified financial planner near you. So with that said, let's go on to our first topic on the docket tonight. This one comes from ccn.com and title Top 10 U.S. Bank joins Ripple blockchain, RippleNet for cross-border payments. Article PNC Bank, the ninth largest bank in the United States by assets, has joined Ripple's enterprise blockchain network, RippleNet, in what is a noteworthy addition for the San Francisco-based fintech. With over 380 billion in assets, Pittsburgh-based PNC Financial Service Group has become the latest member to join RippleNet, a global payments network of over 100 institutions, including banks, payment providers, remittances, remittance forwarders, and operators, among other financial institutions, to enable near instant money transfers with on demand liquidity and end to end tracking on a blockchain. PNC Bank, simply known as PNC, is also the fifth largest bank by number of branches in and the fourth largest with the most ATMs in the United States. The bank services over 8 million customers in 19 states in areas including retail, consumer-ended banking, and corporate banking. While retail services, including consumer and small business banking, is predominantly offered to clients in the eastern states, PNC offers corporate and institutional banking across the country. Ripple said in its announcement, I quote, Ripple's technology will have an immediate impact on each of these groups, enabling PNC's commercial clients to receive payments from overseas banks in real time. End quote. As an example, a commercial client of a business transaction situated in Pennsylvania will be able to receive payments from a UK buyer against the invoices instantly. Ripple explained, enabling the client or business owner to benefit from managing their working capital and accounts receivable. The addition of PNC is arguably Ripple's biggest banking scoop for its flagship product, which notably doesn't use the XRP token, a cryptocurrency developed by Ripple. XRapid, a separate Ripple product which uses XRP for real-time liquidity and international transactions, has seen relatively fewer adopters compared to the 100 plus member strong RippleNet. While the likes of Western Union have trailed the XRP based product for money transfers, a wider commercial application for XRapid is only a month away, according to Ripple's chief of regulatory relations in APAC and the Middle East, Sagar Sabhai. I am very confident that in the next 1 month or so, you will see some good news coming in where we launch the product live in production. Sarbai said in an interview earlier this week. Ripple chief executive Brad Garlinghouse has previously claimed that dozens of banks will be using XRP by the end of 2019. End of article. Titled again, Top 10 Bank joins Ripple's blockchain RippleNet for cross-border payment. PNC Bank. My statements about this is Brad Garlinghouse has announced next month, which is, he said next month-ish, which means October, November, that XRapid will be turned on. And XRapid is the services which allows banks to receive payments instantly. If you do not know, Ripple and XRP, although they are synonymous with each other, they're two different things. XRP is the service, and Ripple is the company, the private company that owns XRP. So that's my 2 cents. And while you all speak about this, I'm going to look up um, the partnerships Ripple has.
But it's just like we've been discussing before that uh, the rapid adoption of cryptocurrencies as well as the blockchain is going to be a game changer going forward. Um, when you see these banks getting on board that were on the SWIFT system, and it's important to understand that the SWIFT system is actually what um, banks were using for financial transfers. And that system is very old and archaic and very monopolized by westernized powers. Those more importantly in Brussels, in London, and as well as Wall Street in the United States. So now what this is going to do is going to tip the balance, um, for financial engineering, so to speak, in terms of who can do banking and who can do cross border payments, international businesses.
This is exactly right. It's just to be. This is a big step in really this adoption of blockchain. Not only that's going to be dealing here, in the banking system of which is definitely going to be seen, but I think we're going to be seeing this, as more even on Wall Street as time goes on. So this is it. This is where things are going. This is how things are trending. This is it. You're seeing it. It's going down. It's going down right now. So that's it. Here it is. Here it is. PNC Bank is a fairly sizable bank, and then the others are going to follow. They're going to watch this, see how well this works, which I think is going to do pretty darn good. And it's on, man. It's on like Donkey Kong right now. That's where we're at. This is blockchain getting formally adopted.
Right. And I see, in the future, maybe a kind of a remittance based bank or, company using Ripple to, unseat Western Union and MoneyGram and those kind of companies. So right now, if I was
Yeah.
Western Union, I'd be afraid. But I remember reading a few months back that Western Union, tried out Ripple, but then they rejected it. So I don't know what that was about, but uh, maybe a bad long term strategy.
Yeah, some of these guys, it's so new. Many are just having a little difficulty with it, but you can pretty obviously see that this is where things are going. So I think that's what we're seeing. We are seeing this thing being formally adopted. It's 10 years from now. It's going to be a whole different game. Anyway, go ahead,
How you doing today, Dollar Will?
Dollar Will.
Hey, what's happening, family?
What's up,
Glad to
baby?
be here. Just riding in the back seat, diamond in the back, some
Some
rooftop,
Rooftop.
digging the
It's
scene.
like
See
the
with the
gangster
gangster
lean.
lean.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. Carry on, carry on.
What's your opinion on this, Dollar?
I actually joined that article late, so that's why I said
Okay.
I'm riding in the back. I'll be with you on the next one. Next
All
one.
right. I found somewhat a list of Ripple's bank partnerships. First, on their website, investors include globally recognized venture capitalist firms and strategic investors. This is serious business. They have Accenture, Santander, Anderson Horowitz, SBI Group. I believe SBI Group is out of Japan. CME Ventures, Digital Ventures, Core Innovation Capital, Seagate, Google Ventures, Standard Chartered, and I found this Google this doc or Google Doc, excuse me, list of Ripple partnerships and RippleNet implementations. You have PNC Bank, Cargill's Bank, Kotak, Santander, American Express, InstaStream, BTech, current directors. They have a large list of people, and it's going down to, let's see here, 164 so far. You have HSBC, JP Morgan, Yeah, Credit Suisse, just to name a few.
What non-banks do you see on there?
It's a few non-banks. The few that I uh said in the beginning, like Anderson Horowitz, that's the I think that's the venture capitalist firm. The
Because I was hearing that also third-party logistics companies are also, testing out Ripple. So
mm,
like the big ones like YRC, CH Robinson, because they have a lot of credit, and they have whether it's pilots or truck drivers or whoever that they need to pay. Right now, they're using kind of another third-party uh, platform to pay the drivers or the companies, the shippers. So they might start using Ripple as a way to get around that as well.
all right, I found one, SBI Holdings, which is like I said, out of Japan. Their industry is digital assets exchange. Um, it's a few more that I saw as I was scrolling back and forth. Money transfer, international money transfer, and also since I'm reading this, I remember going looking at some videos that Ripple is their remittances. Different corridors such as New Mexico, India, Southeast China. Uh, People send remittances back and forth between those countries and from U.S. to those countries. So Ripple, XRP, XRapid can be used to settle those remittances also instantly. I want to add that in there.
I just wanted to add to what Nagone was saying. Nagone is saying 10 years, but this is going to happen in the next 2 to 3.
Hmm. Most definitely.
Have we heard any more from Western Union? Since I guess earlier this month they said they were going to be using, considering using Ripple for some kind of pilot project. Have we heard
Well,
any
they did that
more?
already.
Hold on, I
And
was just going to ask. You think this is going to happen enterprise wide, Mike? Is that what you're saying? Enterprise wide, all over?
When your top 10 or top 20 G20 countries, right? So your countries that were within the G20 and your banking institutions that exist within these G20 nations, when they adopt, that's that means it's game on. So what I'm saying here is that the adoption is going to happen a lot more faster. The transition is going to happen a lot more faster because there's very little infrastructure that needs to be built. That's the whole
Yeah,
that's the whole purpose of blockchain, right? So it's
yeah,
serverless infrastructure. It's infrastructure that can be spun up in a matter of minutes, not a matter of days or months or years. This is something that can happen in a few minutes. So
yeah. I would agree. Like I said, 10 years. I was just thinking, all the way around where this is being just where it's being adopted everywhere. Where this is just it's the new game. It's we've got a shift in the paradigm. Um, and if you're saying it's going to be sooner years, I certainly am not going to debate that point because that very well may be the case. I can see that happening as well.
Now, according to Coin Market Cap, Ripple within the past few weeks has overtook, or the flippening, as people say, Ethereum is the number two on Coin Market Cap a couple of times, but they dropped back to number three. And this is without X Rapid being turned on. So people are speculating again. People are speculating that Ripple can overcome Ethereum once X Rapid is turned on in October November timeframe.
Right.
yeah, and that's because Ethereum takes a lot more power to actually function than Ripple does. Ripple requires very little power.
Correct.
Right. And just to answer Dollar Will's question, yes, Western Union did the pilot project with Ripple, but after a few months, they discontinued it, and they were kind of, sneering at Ripple. They're like, we can do this better than them. So I see this as Western Union being, the next blockbuster. And
I was referring to something I
Ripple.
read dated like the first part of this month.
Wait,
That
another
Western.
pilot project?
That's let's see. Uh, yeah, it says this one's dated September the 3rd. It's let's see, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for this one. But again, it's just so old. This everything moves so fast that it may not even be. It's probably old news by now for something else. Something may have superseded this information.
Okay, I'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the. Let's see if I can put it on the outside chat.
I got it.
Let me try. I've never. There you go.
Yeah.
There you
This is September 3rd.
Hey,
What's it? Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, Lionel, before we move forward, there was a question in the chat from Tony Lackey. He basically asked, what's up with Tron cryptocurrency? I know a little bit about Tron, but do you know anything further than that?
Tron cryptocurrency right now, for last time I heard, it's not a lot of news that comes out excuse me, about Tron, but right now that I heard, they're launching their mainnet soon, and they what was it I heard? What was it I heard? They're launching their mainnet pretty soon, and so people are building cryptocurrencies on top of the Tron mainnet. It's going to be a lot of junk. Just let you know that now. But they're launching their mainnet pretty soon, from what I've heard. But any major news, such as Ripple, Ethereum, the other couple of the top coins, it's not too much major news. I think their price is like a penny and a half right now. So,
Right, because Tron is a proprietary crypto, right? It applies to gaming, right?
um, let's look it up. Let's do some proper
I know
coin.
it's proprietary, but I'm not sure which industry it applies to.
Me personally, I want to say movie industry. So I don't know why I want to say that. Tron, decentralizing the web. Tron, okay. Okay. Nope, they don't really say. What's that white paper? Hmm.
As a black man, I'm offended that they have white papers. Hey, what's going on, Young Grizzly?
Grizzly on here?
Yeah, he's gone now.
Oh, okay. Man, to be honest, I should know this, but I kid you not. I look at so much stuff, man. Okay, I know Justin's son, and him and the whole kerfuffle with him and saying that he knows uh Jack Ma, when all actuality he just met him once, and he used that to jump Tron to he talk a lot on Twitter. I just want to say that. Okay. I want to say there's something to do with the movie industry. I can't
I'm looking
remember.
at it right now, and it says Tron intro to the gaming industry promises coin greatness.
Okay, gaming. There we go.
Yes, it's part of gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just posted something in the chat here where it shows that Tron has had an increase in market cap. This article here I posted there in the chat.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What was that? Okay, yeah, the Ripple Explorer Settlement Project with Ripple. Western Union Explorer Settlement Project with Ripple. Okay. This was September 3rd. Western Union might be start what? Western Union might be start using the cryptocurrency Ripple. Who the hell wrote this? And its new pilot program. The global remittances giant huh?
No, I was saying maybe it was translated.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The global remittances giant has confirmed that it is currently in discussions with the minds behind the digital currency Ripple Labs. How that's not okay. However, little is known about the details of these discussions. If the program does come to light, it could be a more memorable moment for Ripple and the whole cryptocurrency industry. Okay, so they're in talks and they're probably trying to join a RippleNet also, because my belief is this: Ripple has been adding one partnership per week with um, and a lot of these partnerships are top 10, top 20, top 25 businesses. So Western Union do not want to get left behind, because once it's started and they don't pull the trigger, they have a great chance of being defunct and out of business. So I really don't think they want to get left behind. What's going on, again, Grizzly? How you
They're,
doing?
what's going on, Grizzly?
Hey,
Western Union is just like the red box, right? So the red box really exists in low income environments where people don't have access to, let's say, Netflix or something. So they can go to a red box and go get a DVD. Well, with the the emergence of Amazon Fire Sticks and the the modifying of the Fire Stick so that you can have access to let's say unlicensed movies, unlicensed content. It allowed people to have to not actually rely on red box anymore, right? So now you still see red boxes, but not at the same extent that they were maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, right? So
Mm,
the transition from Redbox to Netflix, everybody has Netflix now or has access to some kind of streaming service. Not really necessary to have Redbox around, even though they still exist. What's going to happen with Western Union, and this is just my observation, is that somebody else is going to buy them out. It's going to be a bigger whale,
really?
whether
Okay.
it's Walmart, whether it's yeah, whale's going to buy them out because they have too many assets, and their stock is up. It's not down. It's up from the last time
Hmm.
I checked. So
Okay.
they're still a formidable player on the market.
Also, Western Union is heavy in the what's it called, prison industrial complex, or the prison space. So sending money to and from for commissary and all that stuff. A lot of people use Western Union and other services like that. In some cases, just Western Union, and the fees are crazy.
Mm. Any
So
Absolutely.
other?
they
Go ahead.
won't go away, but they might change, somewhat like what Mike is saying. But they might change, or you might even have it to where you'll see people in prison go the way of the blockchain, well, monetarily, because you're already seeing where they already have their badge numbers. I was watching a documentary the other day. Somebody had a wristband and they just scanned it. They were just scanning the wristband, and this was an old documentary. This was nothing new.
Yeah, I think Western
We
Union
actually
will
covered
go
it.
away if they don't change.
Hmm.
Yeah, we actually covered an article, Lionel and myself, last week about China using the blockchain to manage their parolees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So now you're going to add money to that blockchain and tracking. So yeah.
This can get real interesting real fast. All right. Let's move forward to our next topic on the docket. This one comes from Forbes.com. Title: Student Loan Forgiveness Program Rejects 99% of applicants. Written by Zach Friedman. All right. Article: Here's a shocking statistic. 99% of people who apply for public service loan forgiveness has been rejected. Here's what you need to know and what you need and what to do about it. Student loan forgiveness debt statistics. According to Make Lemonade, there are more than 44 million borrowers who collectively owe 1.5 trillion in student loans. The U.S. Department of Education released the latest statistics for public service loan forgiveness. As of June 30th, 2018, 28,000 student loan borrowers submitted 33,000 applications for public service loan forgiveness. Of that total, approximately 29,000 applications have been processed. Of that, of that total, more than 70% of the applications have been denied due to student loan borrowers not meeting the program requirements. For example, borrowers did not have eligible student loans, make 120 qualifying payments, or have qualifying employment. Another 28% of applications for public service loan forgiveness were denied due to missing or incomplete information on the employment certification form. The Education Department advised these rejected applications to submit a completed application. So, who had been approved? Approximately 300 applications have been approved, and 96 borrowers have collectively received 5.52 million in public service loan forgiveness. Don't become another public service loan forgiveness rejection statistic. If you are interested in public service loan forgiveness, please pay attention. When it comes to the public service loan forgiveness program, the requirements can be tricky. Here are 5 things to remember. I'm going to go through these 5 things. The first one is public service loan forgiveness requirements. It's not as simple as you as working. It's not as simple as saying you work in public service. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program is a federal program that forgives federal student loans for borrowers who are employed full time, which is more than 30 hours a week, in an eligible federal, state, or local public service job or 501c3 nonprofit job who make 120 eligible payments one time, well, 120 one time payments. Number two, complete the employment certification form. In addition to meeting the requirements for public service loan forgiveness, you must complete the employment certification form. How often should you submit the employment certification form for public service loan forgiveness? You should submit this form. All right. I'm going to skip some of the things on some of these steps, not to get too boring, to keep people engaged. Number three, enroll in an income driven federal student loan repayment plan. To be eligible for public service loan forgiveness, you must be enrolled in an income driven federal student loan repayment plan. Remember, only federal student loans, not private student loans, are eligible for public service loan forgiveness. You must also make a majority of the 120 required payments while enrolled in a federal student loan repayment plan. This public service loan forgiveness calculator shows you which income driven student loan repayment plan will maximize your student loan forgiveness. Number four, consolidate your federal student loans if necessary. Only direct student loans qualify for public service loan forgiveness. If you have Perkins loans, FFEL loans, or you borrowed student loans before 2011, you may need to consolidate these federal student loans into a direct consolidation loan. You can consolidate federal student loans through studentloans.gov. Then number five, refinance your private student loans. If you plan to have your federal student loans forgiven, you still need an action plan for your private student loans. The good news is the good news is your can refinance private student loans and lower your interest rate, even if you are enrolled in public service loan forgiveness. This student, okay, calculate the final thoughts. While on 90%, while only 96% of borrowers have received public service loan forgiveness, these numbers should rise significantly in the coming years as more borrowers become aware of the program and its requirements. The program started in 2007, so borrowers only became eligible for student loan discharge in October 2017. While the requirements can be confusing, make sure to follow this roadmap and you will be right on track. Okay, that is amazing. There are 44 million borrowers who collectively owe $1.5 trillion of student loans, and student loans cannot be written off. Any
Hmm.
comments?
I like to comment just the basic thing that one 120 on time payments. That's 10 years.
Only
It's like
120. Oh
120
shit! Yeah.
on time payments is 10 years worth of payment. So that's like one of those. It sounds like a sham program. Like the program is no there. It exists. It's there. You think it's there. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. It's not really intended to. Doesn't sound like it really intends to offer anything.
Well,
If
yeah.
only
There's
one
not a.
percent of the people that applied can get it. Is it really a real program?
It's more or less a program, almost like some of these debt forgiveness, not even debt forgiveness, but mortgage refinancing programs that they had out there, where it's like they only gave it to people. Oh, TARP was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this is only for people that can afford to actually pay their mortgage on time, and those are the only people that they're helping. Everybody else, screw you. The people that actually need help, which is crazy, and it's kind of like how banks work anyway, in
Yeah,
terms
help for
of
people who don't need the help.
right. Yeah, it's just like they only give loans to people that don't need it, which is why if you have a credit score with no money that you're using or you're not using any money and nothing in your credit score is immaculate, then they're going to give you money. Otherwise, they're not going to give you money because they can see that you can't pay it. So it's kind of crazy. It's a bit of a catch-22, but I don't know. It is what it is.
It's kind of disingenuous because you didn't have to have money to qualify for the loan, but now you have to
Mhm.
have money to qualify for, any kind of aid. That's
They dinged them on the employment. Like most of these kids don't have jobs,
and see the thing they
but they
could have,
got degrees.
and they didn't care to look at your the likelihood that you would get employed and gain
Mm-hmm.
employment by looking at the degree that you were pursuing. So they hooked people into this debt bondage. All you had to do to qualify was be breathing.
Yeah, I mean, oh, so Mike V, did you want to talk?
No, I was just going to say that Lionel had actually posted an article before about black women having the majority of student loan debt in the country. It's astronomical. You know, every black woman is educated, but they don't talk about how much debt that they're holding on to from these student loans. So when you get married, you're taking on somebody else's debt.
Yeah.
What is it? $1.5 trillion. You're going to marry
Yeah.
into that? Don't sound like a good prospect to me.
Well,
So
you
what
know,
you're saying you need to check out the woman's credit score and her debt load before you go shopping for a ring.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that before too.
I think that should be a part of the process. I think people's FICO scores should be put up front. Just like, you want somebody to go get, tested for HIV. I think somebody should be tested for, their FICO score.
Yeah. I had to kind of do that recently with
that'll weed a lot of people out. Believe it or not, that'll weed
I had
a
to
lot.
do that. I had to do
So
that
you
recently with a
trying to
girl
tell
that
me
I'm talking to.
so the numbers have to be more than breast, waist, hips. I have to look at other numbers now.
Mm-hmm.
If her FICO score is in 500 area, that's a problem.
Well, it's crazy that they're digging people on jobs and quite a few other things, but I've even done that even with the woman I'm with right now. I said, "Hey, listen, what's your like let's look at your credit score," and she didn't want to show it to me. But like I was like, "Listen, I'm not going to judge you even though I'm going to judge you, but if you want to actually do anything and you want to go forward and even try and do something, you need to fix this shit. Like you can't just sit here and be like,
You would do it, all right?
yeah, sweep it under the rug. But a new type of porn is starting to pop up. I'm not sure if you guys are privy to it.
Oh boy.
It's no. It's debt porn. So if you listen to the Dave Ramsey show and subscribe to his YouTube channel, you hear women call in quite a bit, men call in quite a bit, talking about how they're 6-7 figures in debt and they're not even 30 yet. I've heard that twice, actually 3 times. It's quite crazy.
You can't file for bankruptcy.
Yeah, one of them was talking about that. She couldn't do it because a lot of it was school loans. And I don't want to hold up anything, but I just wanted to put that out there. Debt porn is going to be a new. Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be a new little tab on Pornhub. It's
That's
probably debt
amazing.
porn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
What
just
you
to
saying,
go through
Lionel?
it.
What were you saying?
No, what he's saying is amazing. It's outrageous.
I'll send you the links, but three that come to mind. One girl was 29, and her husband is 32. They both together they make about $235,000 a year. They live in Washington D.C. and they have $1 million in debt. One other guy,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
one other guy, I think he's 27 and got kicked out of West Point for, I guess, doing something stupid. They didn't really say. It sounded weird. But couldn't finish, and he has $300,000 in school loan debt with no degree. And actually, no, he was able to get it at a lower college. And then another young lady, I think she was a black girl, and she couldn't even get her teaching certificate. And literally, the way Dave Ramsey broke it down, $8,000 would change her life. A part of that $8,000 was $1,300 just so she can get her transcript from a school, and she couldn't even afford to do that. She lives on her own and does substitute teaching.
Well, you know, I was hoping Darla can jump in and talk about the DC couple that you mentioned, but the way schools can go about fixing this problem, you can actually, if a school start accepting cryptocurrencies as a means of payment and transfer, that can resolve a lot of issues. Because you think about one college credit, and if you tied that to a crypto, let's say you tied that into something like Ethereum or even something like Bitcoin for that matter, right? Or we'll say Bitcoin just as a standard because that's the benchmark for cryptos. If you tied in one student loan, not student loan, one college credit to a cryptocurrency, what that can do is that can stabilize not only can it stabilize the cryptocurrency market, but it can entice people to actually want to stay in school so that they don't get caught up in the debt.
I mean, yeah, I guess it would be like a long-term strategy, though, right? You're hoping that you're speculating a little bit and hoping that the future of the cryptocurrency flourishes.
Well, the schools are already operating as masternodes, anyways, right, Lionel?
Nice.
Yeah, because with masternodes, they're going to be this is going to be something in the future that people are really not listening, because coins are going from proof of work, which uses a lot of energy, to different proofs of something to secure the blockchain. And proofs of stake, there's other proofs out there, but proofs of stake and master nodes are going to be used to secure the blockchain because it's decentralized. People own different master nodes, which host the blockchain, which secures the network, and it's speculated or theorized, whichever word you want to use, that companies and institutions are going to own these master nodes because, just give you a quick example, then to get along what you all were saying, Dash was $5 like a year ago. Now it's $200 some dollars, went up to $1,500 to own the Dash master node. You got to have some money, but the ROI is nice. So yeah. I don't know if it was that problem. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Mike, about that DC couple. I don't know them. I don't have any money to loan them.
You don't want to know them.
Really?
Might
$1
drag you
million.
down into it. $1 million cumulatively or together. So that's school loan, and they all have high-end degrees too. Both of them have high-end degrees. The guy with the 300K, he actually has a degree. I think a specialty in like Russian relations.
So the woman has more of a debt than he do.
Oh no! So that was the single guy for 300K. I just put the what to search for in the chat. But then the couple, I don't know exact. They have decent jobs, or they're making six figures. It's just they're making six figures, but they actually they actually live with their parents. Live with the woman's parents, the wife's parents, and then she has her condo.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing what Dog Will's opinion is on this. But how much does it cost to actually live in DC?
A shitload.
It ranges. I mean, like the rest of America, if you want to go in a more integrated area, it's going to cost more money. A lot of places in Prince George's County, it ranges. You can get a nice 3-bedroom townhouse in a really nice area that's safe and all that. I would say if you got about 320. You have a wide selection of things. 350.
Oh, when you say 350, you mean 300 and 300?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, but it's a lot of people there, man, making 90, $100,000. I mean, they got people, and I think if you make like 90,000, 80 or 90,000, you qualify for subsidized housing.
Wait, stop. Wait.
Yeah, because the cost of living is so damn high.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the one girl I was talking about that needs $1,300. You're looking at something. She was only making 19K a year.
There are a
But
lot of doctors who are in severely in student loan debt too. Like
mm,
the man and the wife. Like I remember a story where the husband and the wife were both doctors, and they had a combined total of something like $750,000 in student loan debt. You know, what I
Jesus,
mean, that's basically an expensive house that they have to pay on top of, all their bills.
yeah,
That's a lot.
Well, and that's why you don't see millennials buying houses as the boomers did.
oh
The
yeah,
boomers got a sweet deal on housing back then, and today, millennials are making mortgage payments on pieces of paper that is meaningless in today's economy.
Yeah. Now
Right. This
that
is a
price I put
voting
out,
issue.
that price
Oh,
I
go ahead,
put
man.
out for, I'm sorry, that price I put out for DC, we're talking townhouse. If you talking single family house, you're more in the neighborhood of, half a million and up.
man, that's what, a three
You
bedroom,
Right.
Yeah, three,
quarter
four
acre,
bedroom.
quarter acre lot.
Exactly.
In Florida, that's you pay like half of that. Actually, like a third of that. Like, so you'll pay like now it'll be like 300, 400, maybe half mil. It's kind of somewhat the same in Florida, but it was even higher than that at the top of the housing market before the crash.
And the school system, we talking Prince George's County, a lot of people have their kids in private schools, so you got to factor that in there too. So,
Right.
this,
So
a lot of people are being driven out of, we know people, New York is losing a lot of people, but DC is, that's happening more in DC too. People are being driven out, you're not as rich as they think they are, they can't
so
afford.
you're saying a lot of people in Prince George's County in DC um are walking around with good income, but can barely live, are living
Oh
just
yeah, oh yeah. It's people making 90, $100,000. You don't feel it sounds like a lot of money if you live in someplace else, but in DC, you don't have a whole lot left over. If you have a house, I mean, you're paying a mortgage, a car, regular stuff that everybody has. You're living right on the edge. Something has to give.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, you know, smart folks, they forego the new car, but you see a lot of people trying to maintain the house, the car, kid in private school, and it's rough.
let me go to this. I mean, interrupt. Let me go to this next topic because it segues right into it, and then I'll merge this topic with this next topic. And I have what you just said, Dollar Will. This where money walks. We'll merge together and speak about it for a few minutes. This next topic comes from weform.org. The title is "The Future of Jobs 2018." Short article. Article goes as technical breakthroughs rapidly shift the frontier between the work tasks performed by humans and those performed by machines and algorithms. Global labor markets are likely to undergo major transformations. These transformations, if managed wisely, could lead to a new age of good work, good jobs, and improved quality of life for all. But if managed poorly, pose the risk of widening skills gaps, greater inequality, and broader polarization. In many ways, the time to shape the future of work is now. The Future of Jobs reports provides tools which can support responses to the critical questions confronting businesses, governments, and workers in the horizon up to 2022. Now, what you said, Dollar Will, people, this is what they're saying. This article is going to be it could be a migration due to the jobs market. Now, I just moved from Chicago to Florida. If I click on the state of Illinois and Cook County here in Cook County, it shows you it's a red. The county's in red, which means a lot of people are leaving this county and going to other counties. Um, and it should show where they're losing money. They're losing money and where the money is going to. One of the places money was going to from ouch, let me see that was the state of Florida. The state of Florida was receiving a lot of money from Cook County. And you said you let's see DC, which is in what Maryland area?
Yeah, click Maryland. Click Maryland.
Okay.
Look, we want to zoom in. There you go. Yeah.
There you go, Maryland. This is Maryland. So it would be where?
You're trying to see a part that's near DC. Looking for. See where it says Washington. Is that what's the red? What's that red?
Prince George County. There we go.
Okay, there you go. That. So what does that mean? That color, red.
Red is bad. Red. Lost Prince George County lost 4.62 billion in annual AGI from 92 to 2016. Okay. So
Annual gross income.
huh?
I think that means annual gross income.
Annual gross income.
Okay, slow down. Let me see if I understand that. That's annual gross income. So that's a
Adjusted gross
slowdown in the growth of businesses, which translated to reduction in salaries. Is that what we're talking about?
Believe is the website is where money walks. I believe it. The purpose of it is saying people are either moving away from these places or coming into these places.
Gotcha. So the red is places that are they're losing people.
Mm-hmm.
And salaries does that also mean the salaries are going down, or
No,
just this is cost of living?
Just people are migrating or not migrating or just leaving from this area going to other areas. Because
Gotcha.
right here it says lost wealth to 1.4 billion to Annie Andrew Arundel County.
Anne Arundel, gotcha.
Well,
That's the neighboring county. It's a little cheaper. The property tax drops a huge amount. The property tax goes from, I haven't checked in a while, but at one point, the property tax in Prince George is somewhere around, I can't tell you percentage based. Let me just say, I think I was paying like $5,000. If I had gone to the next county, Anne Arundel, it might have dropped down to like $1,500. You know? So ironically, say it again, Mike.
No, go right ahead and finish. I'll come right after you.
Yeah, and for example, Prince George's County has like some of the highest property taxes in the entire area, but it's not the wealthiest county in the area. So we've always, wondered why do we pay more but don't get as much, say, as Montgomery County. I believe the incomes are higher there. Montgomery County, Maryland, Alexandria, and Arlington, and Fairfax counties in Virginia. But Prince George's County property taxes is, I believe, higher than all of them. But go for it.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, I can either read it or Lionel can read it. But if you click on the World Economic Forum link I sent you, that's a part of the docket.
World Economic
page open.
Link.
The future of jobs that's what WEF stands for, World Economic Forum. And if you click on the read full report,
where we at? Read full is on the left hand side.
The bottom.
The bottom.
Nope, right in the middle.
Oh, right in the middle.
Read full report. Nope. Go over to the graphic.
It's right in front of read full report. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you go to the third paragraph, it says a particular focus. Actually, it says to prevent undesirable lose-lose scenario. Actually, it's before that. Sorry. It says a particular focus of this new edition of report is on arriving at a better understanding of the potential of new technologies, including automation and algorithms, to create new high-quality jobs and vastly improve the job quality and productivity of existing work of human employees. As has been the case throughout economic history, such as augmentation of existing jobs through technology is expected to create wholly new tasks, from app development to piloting drones to remotely monitoring patient health, to certified care workers, uh, opening up new opportunities for an entirely new range of livelihoods for workers. At the same time, however, it is also clear that the fourth industrial revolution's wave of technological advancement is set to reduce the number of workers required for certain work tasks. So what I'm saying here is this: they are talking about the fourth industrial revolution in this whole entire PDF, and they're talking about the areas of where this is going to be affected. Now, if you click on, let me see, if you click on this, where is it at? Country. Let me see, country and region. Yep, country and region. So if you click on country and region,
Where we at? Where?
I know. So go back to the original page.
Okay, roger that. Original. Okay, got it. Country and regional profiles.
Yep, and you click on United States. And if you go to the United States, you'll see that they have it broken out. You know, they have it for Africa as well, but I'm going to focus on the United States just for right now. And if you look at the emerging job roles, software and application developers and analysts.
Emerging skills.
Analysts and scientists. Emerging job roles.
Oh, the emerging job roles. Let me see. Can I? Okay, let me expand that.
Yeah, it is tiny. Sales and marketing professionals. Preem, they're talking about you. Database and network professionals, financial investment advisors. These are the emerging job roles that they're talking about for the United States. Now, if you click on Africa, you'll see that there's a different, there's a different set of job roles, emerging job roles coming out of there.
Let's go here. Okay.
I think you can click on Sub-Saharan Africa, or you can click on South Africa. Either one would be applicable.
Emerging job roles, correct?
Yep. I'm on South Africa. I don't know what you're on.
Yeah, I'm on South Africa.
Okay. Right. So looking at South Africa, if you look at the
we don't see it on the screen right now. It's not on the screen for the viewers.
Okay, let me
there you go.
Reshare. And can you all see it?
I'm looking on the web page. No, I don't see it.
Okay. Let me stop sharing again. I'll click in screen share. Okay. Can you all see it now? Well, okay. I'm just
I can see it. I don't have any problem with it.
Well, no, I'm talking about. I'm looking at the feed page. I don't see it up on the feed for the viewers. I don't know. I don't know why it's not.
It should show up. Because I don't know how to. I'm just clicking share screen.
Well, I guess go ahead then. It's okay. not happening before.
Yeah, it's in the description, so it's all good for now, at least until we figure it out.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I was just going to say that if you look at, go back to my page. If you look at like emerging job skills or job roles in reference to Africa, software and application developers and analysts, sales and marketing professionals, managing directors and chief executives. These are all yesterday's roles in America that that are open opportunities for Black people to take advantage of. So these are job roles that are having a hard time fulfilling. Now,
I see assembly and factory work just to make your point. That drives it all the way home.
Right. And if you look at the emerging skills,
let's scroll down.
These are all right. If you go down to emerging skills, you'll see analytical thinking and innovation, creativity, originality, initiative, active learn. Let me expand my screen.
Active learning and learning strategies.
Right, critical thinking and analysis. And looking at the technology adoption at the top, it shows that machine learning, user and entity, big data analytics. These are all STEM skills. These are all STEM applications. Cloud computing is at the top. IoT, Internet of Things, augmented and virtual reality. Anything that's above 65%, it's more than likely you need to have the skill set to actually manage these emerging technologies coming out, as well as the roles that's gonna be applied to it.
Quantum computing also 51%. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying this even earlier today, and I've been saying it for a while. The number one export, we should increase the number one export of the U.S. to be jobs, and not just jobs, but brain power. So we should almost be the next India in a sense, or be like India in terms of being support and brain power for all these other emerging areas or emerging economies and countries.
Right, and to your point, Grizzly, Amazon doesn't have an AWS inside Africa. Actually, Amazon is not present in Africa at all, which opens up a mega market. Right.
Right, and you'd probably see people like Alibaba move into there because they already have that foothold from their government.
Right.
So I mean, like
that doesn't mean you can have compete in markets.
Right, and honestly, if you go in there and you actually put in something and program it accordingly, then you could do quite a bit in those areas. Not to say that they don't have that already. I mean, I'm sure it's quite developed, but develop in areas where they aren't. You know, like put up those cell towers, put up those data centers, put up those or put up the last mile of cabling. Really, is the biggest thing. Is push cable out to those areas, wait and sit on it, and then sell it. You know, but that's a lot of money. It's a huge undertaking, huge risk, but people are taking it.
That's
also, isn't there I don't know if this is necessarily true, but China is trying to shift a lot of its manufacturing to African countries so that it can start focusing on now a lot of the manufacturing the U.S. used to, or does, I should say, like the higher value, higher skilled manufacturing, like airplane parts and tech and that kind of thing.
Definitely true. Many documentaries have actually supported that from what I've seen so far.
I think what they're trying to do, at least from my observation, is cut down on travel time. So anything coming from Southeast Asia to Africa and to Europe would be cut down if they just manufactured it in Africa and then shipped it up by train up to the Mediterranean and up to Europe. It will cut down on time, from my understanding, by weeks.
Instead of coming from China to Europe.
Coming from China to Europe would take weeks. Coming from Africa to Europe would take maybe less than a day.
Wow, yeah. And is that just by air, or are we talking maybe even a decent railroad system, which is being built?
right. The Belt and Road Initiative is supposed to encompass all of this, right? So there's also been discussions about. I know China bought ports up in Greece. So Greece is so broke they sold their ports to the Chinese. So that opens up, the initiative for China to actually control that docking, right? So to offload some of those materials right into Greece and go straight up to Europe. And then you take into consideration Egypt is very close in the most stabilized area, the Sinai Peninsula. They're actually building factories up there because it's a lot of undeveloped land that could easily be utilized because they have clean water and they also have a vast amount of territory to cover. So they're talking about 36 factories being built just in that area alone.
I don't know. That sucks for the clean water over the years, but we know what that's going to bring.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity for a lot of these African countries. They can copy, well, I guess to a certain extent, copy the Chinese model of, okay, we'll build your stuff, but then we need to take 51%, or we need this technology.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the Chinese that, right? And then, either just take the technology or, whatever means, they use to acquire this technology, just like the Chinese did. And just like the America did during the first industrial revolution, where they stole technology from Europe.
Right? Yeah. I mean, this all everything goes around in a circle. No one is outside, the guilt. Whatever nefarious ways people have done it, which trust and believe there were nefarious ways involved, and business strategies. Do it. Don't think that they're here to benevolently help Africa. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right. I really do. The cycle that you see repeating itself, what it does is it actually builds up civilizations and eventually brings everyone up to the same level. So it's going to be kind of crazy to see, not crazy, but it's going to be something to see, I should say, years from now, whether we'll be alive to see it or not.
Actually, I think we'll be alive to see it, because there's one thing I guess we haven't talked about, or that isn't being considered right now, is the ability of now modern technology for a lot of African countries and economies to leapfrog, right? So maybe they don't have to do like sweatshops like China did. Now they can have robots or 3D printers making it instead, because I think we talked about it before, the M-Pesa system in Kenya, they completely leapfrogged credit cards and checks and all of that directly into mobile payment systems, right? When I was there, everyone was just using their phones, and they weren't even using smartphones to pay basically pay everything. They were using those old Nokia, flashlight phones.
Oh, the ones you put a snake on.
They're using a carbon copy of WeChat. They're using a carbon copy of WeChat from China. So they're basically leveraging that infrastructure that was already built in China on a digital basis to actually adopt. And that's something that you're probably going to see go across Africa. But if you look at the World Economic Forum link that we're actually looking at, you see that there's a lack of people available for these jobs. So there's the top 4 jobs, or the top 4 technologies being utilized is machine learning, cloud computing, Internet of Things, augmented and virtual reality, and digital trade, encryption. These are all it also says wearable electronics, so your smartwatches and things like that. But the point that I'm making here is that these are the technologies that are going to be utilized, but don't have the actual human capital to drive it. So you need people with these skills, and people, I think Black people from America who do have the wherewithal here that can't find a job and can't afford to live in D.C. paying $1 million in debt could actually do pretty well over there, with 30 grand. Yeah.
Fucking yes, that's exactly what I've been thinking and saying. It's like people need to be looking. They need not to be looking within a 10, 15 mile, 30 even 30 mile radius, or even a 3-state radius. They need to be across the waters, looking for jobs. I'm sorry, I got excited.
Right. Also,
or
I don't know if
creating
you
jobs.
guys know it. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying, creating jobs for yourself, creating industries for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. Because the guy who created the M-Pesa system, what's his name? I forget what his name, but he's a brother from Guyana, right? He used to work at Vodafone in the UK. He basically went to Kenya and he started his telecommunication company over there, where he started utilizing this technology. He's the owner of Safaricom.
Oh, okay, wow.
All right. Anything else? All right.
If you're looking for a job
And
here,
they
don't
actually,
you're looking in the wrong place.
yeah. I'm a big advocate of Black people getting into STEM, especially Black men. This is the time to actually get in. The article that we just, the piece that we just read from the World Economic Forum specifically talked about the fourth industrial revolution and its impact on certain areas around the world. And if you look at that PDF, it kind of gives you a breakdown of how it's going to impact which area, which country, and which technology, which is a lot of research. So science, technology, engineering, mathematics. If you can find a community college that has it, this is the perfect time to do it. Either between 2018 and 2020, the PDF is reflective of the year 2020. That if you do not have these skills by 2022, you are SOL.
Hmm. Say a lot of okay.
Mike, do you think or is it the rate of Africans leaving Africa going to Europe? That should definitely slow down, right?
It will and it won't, because your people that are going to Europe are searching for opportunities because they lack the literacy necessary to actually compete in these sort of markets. So they're looking for labor, right? So and Europe exploits these people because they can pay them beneath what what the minimum wage is.
Okay, let me ask you this: the rate of Africans coming to America for education and not going back home to Africa, do you think that trend is going to reverse and more Africans will return home?
Absolutely. You see a lot of we've discussed many articles about this in over the past hangouts, that the remittances that are being lost due to due to people sending money back to Africa, back to Jamaica, and back to Haiti, and these Black places. People are already sending money back for a reason, but once the markets start emerging over there, there's going to be no reason to actually send money back. They only send money back now because the dollar is strong. But what happens in 5 years, by 2022, when the dollar isn't as strong and all the opportunities are in Africa? No reason to come over here.
Right.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think I sent the Vice. No, it's not Vice. It was Al Jazeera video about Blackset. A lot of diaspora Africans leaving from the U.S., Canada, Europe, and going to Africa. I think they mentioned a few countries: Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and starting businesses there. So
When
the
you,
movement's already started.
when you say diaspora Africans, you mean Africans from parents from Africa, or a
Both.
blanket statement?
No, both. Like, for example, just African Americans here in the United States, descendants of slaves. Um, the Africans in Europe aren't necessarily, it's not the same history as here in the U.S. So it'd be a little bit different. But both
Right.
basically who were born there are now leaving to go to Africa.
Man, when you start seeing Jamaicans over there, then you know it's over.
Oh, they already over there. They in Ethiopia.
See what I'm saying? It's done. My people have arrived.
I can get jerk chicken, good jerk chicken in Africa.
Actually, let me
Maybe
rephrase
on
that.
the flight over too.
Yeah, Ethiopia and Gambia, because Gambia has a strong reggae community, and they derive their reggae music from Jamaica.
Right. I mean, but you've seen that and that's why I've always been somewhat of an advocate of just move to where the jobs are. In a sense, you can't tell me that hey, there's no jobs here. I'm gonna do something stupid. So if you really need because my dad did it. He left his kids, left his wife, and everything down in Jamaica, came up to New York and blah blah blah, Florida, finally settled in Florida. So Jamaicans have always historically done that. Like a lot of my mother's brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles, are actually in Canada. Quite a few of them are up there in Canada, and that's Canada. You know how cold that shit is, and they're up there.
It's
Right.
Canada code.
Right,
What about the Nigerians?
right.
Nigerians are everywhere, man. I'm telling you, I haven't been
Mm-hmm.
to a country where there weren't Nigerians. It doesn't matter
Right,
where it is. They're in China, they're in Japan, they're in Thailand. Man, yeah. Even I think O'Shea, he was mentioning that there are a lot of Nigerians in Poland, in Russia, Ukraine. So you got to be like that
Yeah,
when you're
I've read about that.
willing to go anywhere.
Yeah,
They're
and
like,
that's what I mean. Like the cost of living in many of these African countries, and you're talking about West African, in particular, it, the cost of living is only something like you would only need something like 20 grand a year. From when I talked to what's this woman over in Namibia, I forget her
Uh,
name right now, but
African
she was
American in
out of Europe.
Africa.
Yeah, I spoke to her and she told me that it doesn't you wouldn't need much. So all of this 200,000, 300,000, you're not going to need all that to survive over there. So
It's
well,
honestly, in some
actually, just
cases,
to
you just
tie,
need a job. In some
because I looked
cases,
at
yeah,
the cost of living in Uganda and Kenya and Rwanda. They're close to each other. Uganda, I'm just going off the comparative to the USD. In Uganda, it's like 1,000 Ugandan shilling equals one USD. Rwanda is 100. I forgot what. No, Kenya is 100. I forgot what Rwanda is, but the cost of living is so low because I've actually spoken to people that lives in Uganda, and they said that if you make a certain amount, you can't help but save money.
mm. Hmm.
right. And just to tie this back into the student debt, if you're someone with 200, $500,000 in student debt, none of that is ever going to get paid. This $2 trillion, it's not going to happen. So leave the country. Don't come back to America. That's basic. And I don't know if I sent you guys this, but there are a lot of people who are doing that. They racked up 100K in
They
student loan debt.
stiffen them.
Yeah, and they left to Europe. They're like, fuck this shit.
Mm.
So they went to Europe to get their masters, for free, and yeah, they're getting their jobs over there. And they're like, yeah, we're not coming back to the U.S. Unless it's to renew our passports. That's it.
Well,
Right, and people.
But
I'll
that's
go
not
after
fair.
you.
But that's not fair.
let's let's get to this next topic on the docket.
Mm.
Excuse me. This one comes from CryptoBriefing.com. Title: Blockchain adoption will add 120 billion to world economy. The report found blockchain could disrupt 44 industries, written by Patty Baker on September 25th. Article: Blockchain adoption could add more than 100 billion to the global economy in the next 6 years, a recent report suggests. The Future of the Blockchain Market report revealed distributed ledger technology, or DLT, would have a positive economic impact, contributing as much as 120 billion worldwide between now and 2024. The study found that the benefit offered by blockchain meant mainstream adoption was high probable. Researchers predicted that blockchain could contribute anywhere between 87 billion to 120 billion by 2024, depending on which industries added and at the rate of adoption. Quote, our report calculates the economic impact of blockchain and reflects the potential cost savings, said Adam Ricobini, the managing director of Critical Future, a London-based technology advisory firm which commissioned the report. Researchers took 6 months to complete the study and talked to 1,800 business figures around the world. When asked whether blockchain had a viable future, 80% of the participants said they believed it was here to stay. There's definitely a accept there's definitely an acceptance of blockchain among the business community, said Rico Bini. It's not a fad. They're talking blockchain seriously. The studies show blockchain adoption will have a particularly strong effect on 44 industries, including the financial and public sectors, as well as the entertainment industry. Our study is an evolving analysis that looks at current data as well as other applications where blockchain could disrupt, said Antonis Ballas, the study led researcher who holds a PhD in cryptocurrency economics. How did he get that? Okay, the four main areas where blockchain could be applied almost immediately were in trade, cross-border transactions, Ripple, AML, AML and KYC, which is anti-money laundering and know your customer, as well as to prevent identity fraud. He added, blockchain adoption is not is a net benefit. Today's report is not the only one that sees DLT having a wide-ranging impact on multiple industries. A study by CBI Insight suggested at the beginning of August that 42 industries could change dramatically if they adopted blockchain technology. This included many of the same sectors mentioned in Critical Future, including identity verification, the music industry, and car sharing platforms. It's not news to say blockchain will have a transformative impact on the world economy. A decentralized ledger can foster greater collaboration, interaction, and transactions between parties. Bettina Warburg highlighted in a TED talk at the end of 2016 that blockchain was the next step in an increasingly sophisticated human economy. Previous studies have also highlighted blockchain adoption would be a net benefit to national economies in specific sectors. A study published in late July found DLT could add upwards of 5 billion to the Indian economy. A 2017 report from Accenture found that the financial sector could save an estimated 12 billion in transaction costs and compliance issues. Critical Futures report is the first to suggest blockchain adoption could have a wide-ranging impact on the global economy. It highlights the scope of blockchain's potential and emphasizes it as a beneficial and positive innovation. Just my one point, as we've been doing this, I've um, got sucked into the echo chamber, YouTube being an echo chamber, and whatever you're talking about, you're going to find like-minded people, and I found you all like-minded people. And me personally, I feel that blockchain, as I'm being left behind in learning this technology and reading articles like this, and me going over other topics and doing research myself, I see the different ways that blockchain can radically change the future. And I feel left behind, and I'm in the echo chamber. And I say this to say, people don't even know what blockchain is, the average person, and even some businesses. Imagine how much they will be left behind once the wheel gets rolling downhill at a fast pace.
Mhm.
I echo everything you said for me too. I'm learning as we go, and the bit hopefully the payoff will be as I understand it more. I'll be able to see where I fit in it. But we all got to jump in. Hopefully more people will get on platforms like this one, or just start to take more of an interest so they can see ways that they need to pivot and shift to adapt to the new environment.
Hmm. Any other comments?
The one thing I would say is the only way he got that PhD was if he got it last year or the year before that. That's
Yeah,
too fast.
yeah, that's pretty, and it's in
Yeah.
cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, they haven't even been around 10 years, and he already got this PhD. And seven of those 10 years, cryptocurrency been steeped in drugs and pedophilia. So,
Well, he could have actually written his own. He could have written his own PhD. It's not uncommon that
Hmm.
when you're doing your dissertation that you actually focus on either computer science or information systems or economics, and you can write. Like for example, if I wanted to do my PhD, I could do it in cryptography. So if he probably did it in cryptography, he probably did a dual as well. He probably did one in finance. So fintech is an actual education now. It's an actual form of education now in most of the top tier universities.
Yeah, I believe he made that. Um, if I was to say anything about that.
Mm. But
So,
that
and I guess
go ahead.
I just want to offer my opinion on the article itself that the amount of opportunities that's coming out of blockchain is actually creating. I think Lionel said it last week, something like 16 jobs per blockchain, right? So, or 16 opportunities per
No,
blockchain. So,
per
that
person,
includes,
per developer.
yeah, per developer. So, a developer needs system admins, it needs code writers, the architects, the analysts. All that stuff comes into concert.
Oh, I mean, listening to this and thinking about it, I'm like, cryptocurrencies challenging the Visa and Mastercard. They're not. The thing is, they're talking from maybe a Western civilization centric, or actually not maybe, definitely a Western civilization centric mindset. They're not talking from an Afrocentric mindset or African centric mindset. Like, they're cryptocurrency is not competing in those areas. They're actually making those areas. If you're looking at third world countries and countries that are not a part of the Western civilized monetary game or organization, however you want to put it, but cryptocurrencies, I'm feeling more and more, are just not made for the U.S. It's just something that we take a part of as people that are privy to it and have an internet connection, but they're not made for us. They're made for emerging markets, emerging countries, and they're making more of them, more and more for those emerging markets. Especially if you look at companies like IOHK who run ETC, Ethereum Classic, and what's the
Dano.
other one? Dark Cardano, which is their main one, or ADA. So yeah, it's my feelings on it. It's not like they're not challenging it. It's like they've already lost in those areas to cryptocurrencies because I don't know, just they don't really trade in those areas. My thoughts, my theory though.
Mm. Any other comments? All right. Let's get to our next topic on the docket. All right, this one comes from Rise. Oh goodness, CryptoBriefing.com. Um, another one, CryptoBriefing.com. Title: Cryptocurrencies challenge the Visa and Mastercard duopoly. Billions of dollars to be paid to merchants who claim they were cheated. Written by Patty Baker. Another written by Patty Baker on September 20th. All right, article. It's a rare thing indeed when two multinational heavyweights come out of the worst, come out the worst in a court case. Even rarer when the settlement cost them collectively over 6 billion. The business press reported earlier this week that Visa and Mastercard, along with the sprinkling of banks, would pay a class of more than 12 million merchants a multi-billion-dollar settlement. This comes after a lawsuit was brought by merchants who argued the payment networks had increased their swipe fees illegally. A 5.54 billion to 6.24 billion settlement was agreed on at the conclusion of the court case on Tuesday. The fees in question are what's called an interchange. It's the transaction cost that merchants pay to use a payments processor every time a sale is made. The money goes toward the upkeep of the network and partly to the bank's credit card reward schemes. Although an increase in the interchange is unlikely to dent profits from the likes of Starbucks, which incidentally pulled out of the lawsuit, arbitra- arbitrary cost hikes could be catastrophic for businesses with smaller margins. No modern day business can hope to survive long without card payments. The payments processor knows this. They have a stranglehold over commerce around the world, a position they can exploit to their own advantage. Cryptocurrency Visa rivalry. On the same day that Bloomberg reported on the settlement, it launched an incentive against Bitcoin Cash, claiming it was a license for a few techies to create money out of thin air. Bloomberg's hostility to crypto is nothing new. Entrenched business interests seem to have a tighter grip on the editorial slant than they do on Washington politicians. But this was knee deep analysis that failed to consider why the fork happened at all. Big wait, am I reading? Is this part of the article? I believe so. Okay. Um, excuse me, people. Rather than off-chain solutions like Lightning Network, bigger block sizes means the network can process transactions far faster than BTC and for less. All of these functions are decentralized. It is true that CoinGeek and Bitmain are large players in the space, but there is currently no single institution able to manipulate the network for individual gain. This is just one example. There are other cryptocurrencies with their methodologies. Singapore-based Zalika uses sharing sharding technology to ramp up the validation process. Nano uses block lattices to structure a structure which each user having their own chain in a vast interconnected web. Lisk has created a side chains architecture all linked together by a main chain. The point is that there are multiple alternatives to the centralized payment processors that are becoming increasingly viable. Visa and MasterCard have agreed to a settlement, but another court case calling on them to change their business practices to not exploit their position of power is still ongoing. The result is uncertain. Instead of trusting on the goodwill of the payment processors, merchants should look toward cryptocurrencies. Fees collected go toward the upkeep and running of the decentralized network, not to keep fund credit card reward schemes run. Wait, not to keep fund, not to help fund credit card reward schemes run by the banks. There is already a growing trend for mobile phones on a medium of payment. Cryptocurrency, Visa, or MasterCards like 10x simply extend the duopoly tenure. A lack of rival payment processors has enabled them to hike up interchange fees without damaging their businesses. The fact that they now have to pay 6 billion back shows the scale of their operations. The duopoly of Visa and MasterCard works in their best interest. They have gotten fat on the proceeds of small merchants. Businesses are supposed to thrive on competition. It's time Visa and MasterCard had some. All right, this one comes from cryptobriefing.com, titled Cryptocurrencies Challenge the Visa and MasterCard Duopoly. You guys are getting fat while we starve. It's time for us to eat. Who has any points on that one?
I
Yeah.
think is this much to do about nothing, because the the increase in fees, that's not a I would say a cryptocurrency centric thing. The credit card companies have always been at odds with the merchants about the transaction fee and the rate of it. What's am I missing something? What's different now?
Um, I think it advocates for the beautiful or the beauty in transparency in the blockchain, and it's almost like the little guys beating the big guys. And then also, if you start to, if this article, this type of sentiment starts to permeate throughout, um, you know, the minds of small businesses, then they're going to start to want more cryptocurrencies, and that's going to, in time, pretty much become a great divide or increase the gap in a sense, or increase the division in the market in terms of payments and remittances and other things. Um, Essentially, people are just going to start flowing to another side, and they're going to look at cryptocurrencies and they're like, oh, okay, hey, This is cheaper, this is faster, and it's transparent. So I'm not, I can see where I'm getting screwed in a sense.
Yeah, but I mean, so are you saying that you think that the widespread use of cryptocurrencies are going to eliminate transaction fees?
It's
No,
gonna
they reduce it.
yeah, it's gonna reduce it to the point where it looks like it's almost eliminated even, but it's gonna reduce it drastically.
What's going to make it reduce?
Just setting it lower. So for instance, if you look at
Why
cryptocurrencies
would
like Bit,
anybody set it lower? Why would people? Why would humans or banks or businesses
um,
change their
why would
DNA
I sell?
to not charge as much as the market will allow?
Why would I sell something
because
cheaper as I'm coming into the market? Because I want to compete and get more of it. So, for instance, if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a high transaction fee. People started to use Litecoin and other currencies, cryptocurrencies, to actually do transactions on between, like, cross blockchain transactions or cross currency transactions. So they started to move to other currencies that were, one, faster, and two, a lot cheaper. They required a lot less gas or a lot less fees, and that shows you that when you have less fees, people will start to move to that. So people are having more choices, and essentially the biggest thing is we've had little to no choices thus far.
What were you going to say, Mike?
no, I was going to say that the blockchain in itself and the cryptocurrencies that ride up on top of it are actually they're what they call serverless. I mean, it doesn't require any infrastructure, and the infrastructure that it could ride upon is very cheap to begin with. The problem with the Swiss system, the previous Swiss system that the current banks are using, is that it's cost intensive and it's very slow. It's an archaic system that needs to die in terms of doing business. If you want to do international business, it's not very feasible in comparison to what cryptocurrencies and the blockchain can provide as an alternative. It's just everything happens at the speed of the wire. So depending on how fast your wire is, that's how fast your payment is going to be. The Swiss system in the traditional banks don't have that sort of capability as it stands, and that's why you're seeing a lower cost per transaction because it's just that much faster. It doesn't really require much to begin with.
And that cost is distributed across the payers as well. So right now, yeah, it's a high cost, especially for coins like Bitcoin, but then you have coins like LTC, which are programmed to be lower. So you can actually program your prices to be lower to little to nothing. With in terms of like XRP, and people correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but XRP, you have little to no cost other than what is programmed into it, where it's a standard cost in some cases. Like, so go from there.
Well, I'll say this much, or this little. uh, with the article made reference to the seemingly arbitrary nature of the price increase. Now, I can see a benefit with cryptocurrency in that under the current system, we pretty much have, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Okay, so it's competition, but it's minimal competition. At least in the cryptocurrency world, we'll have many more players in the game, more competition, and so just that pressure from a bigger field of participants or currencies competing, that should be enough to keep the fees low. I
Right.
give you
Right,
that.
but
I give you that.
I think we should also keep in mind how powerful Visa and Mastercard are. Like they had a kind of a tiff with Walmart, right? So, and I think Walmart discontinued all Visa payment systems in Canada. So I think maybe we shouldn't underestimate the will of merchants to jump ship if there's something viable and scalable enough that they could use.
I think you'll see, and that's a good point. But I think you'll see that you'll see the jump ship as long as they have a ship to jump to, and that's the thing. They don't really have a decent ship to jump to. So as you start to see these technologies become more robust, and a lot stronger. Pretty much as robust. But as these companies become more robust, or these technologies become more robust, people are going to start to look to them. And of course, you're going to see one or two larger companies make the move ahead of everyone and then be able to make some decent profits off of that until everyone else starts to come in. And that's going to be good for the company that, first adopts at the right time in the right way, and it's also going to be good for the customers as well. Essentially, what you're going to see is instead of four companies making the decision of where people move, the people, again, this is the draw, the desire, the beauty of cryptocurrencies is that the people are starting to make these decisions of where they want their money to move and how they want it to move, and that's going to be the big thing.
Hmm.
I just wanted to answer this person's question in the chat. I believe his name is Orc Promo. Any idea if duopoly has efforts to develop competitive technology? They're already using, to answer your question, they're already using the blockchain as it stands right now. They're not going to offer anything competitive because the infrastructure has already been built by the community itself. So they're not going to reinvent the wheel when Goodyear has already made the tire. They're pretty much adopting what's already been developed. IBM is the biggest driver behind the blockchain right now from a company standpoint. I think they invested $160 million into blockchain just this year so far. So, I know myself had covered this a couple of hangouts ago. I think it was either space technology or economics, but basically IBM is the big driver behind it. For obvious reasons, they've been involved in the financial industry since the 1930s for information technology. They're the super whale in terms of in terms of information technology as well as the financial industry. So they're the ones really driving the technology, and everybody else is just going to adopt it.
Now, question: Where did they make that? I guess that donation, was it in Stellar Lumens or is it in
no,
various cryptocurrencies?
they've been applying for trade for blockchain patents.
Oh boy, they're trying to get that licensing gang going.
I think a lot of their investment is in research and development, not necessarily products, if I'm not mistaken. You guys correct me on that.
The patents, some of the patents that we've read, that their patents are geared toward business and for other businesses to use their technology. So they're staying in the game. They don't want to get left behind.
Right. Whoever's the driver will be the one to standardize, and that's what companies like IBM try to do: is try to get ahead, drive the technology, make everybody adopt their philosophy, and they become the standard. This is what they did in the 70s and 80s with the PC. They were the first ones to really drive it. Right. They were Big Blue, right? So they were the ones to drive the PC versus Apple, and that's how you got IBM compatible, because they were the drivers behind it. So they want to do the same thing with blockchain and cryptocurrencies as well.
So was IBM the creator of the DOS system, or was that a different company?
It was a different company. Disk operating system. IBM were the guys behind OS2 or OS Warp. That's what they call it. I think it's OS2. But there was a smaller contingency that created DOS, and Microsoft asked those guys to go in partnership with them, and they said no. And Bill Gates went to the bank and got a loan for $50,000 at the time. I think this was like 1981, 1982, and he ended up buying the operating system from them for $50,000, and that's what created MS DOS. And from MS DOS, you got Windows.
Yeah, I thought it was even a smaller like it was one guy that was really doing it, or behind it in a sense, something like that.
It was a couple of guys, but they took the money and they're broke now. So
yeah, $50,000 is not going to go far. Well, that was a lot back then, but
right. Yeah, he probably brought a DeLorean and maybe a snapback or something like that.
and a members only jacket.
That's
Members
Right.
only. What's wrong with
uh,
y'all?
Any other comments on that one before we move on to our next topic? All right. This one comes from CoinTelegraph.com, written by Anna Alexander. Title: Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. 1 billion people will be in crypto ecosystem in 5 years. All right. This was written on September 8th. Article: Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong predicts the number of people in the cryptocurrency ecosystem to grow from the current 40 million to 1 billion in the next 5 years, TechCrunch reported September 7th. In an interview with TechCrunch, Armstrong projected that the cryptocurrency ecosystem and the total number of digital currencies will grow substantially, attributing the growth to commercial organizations to develop their own tokens. The tokens would reportedly function together with equity as an alternative investment system, Armstrong explained. Quote, it makes sense that any company out there who has a cap table should have their own token. Every open source project, every charity, potentially every fund or these new types of decentralized organizations and apps, they're all going to have their own tokens. End quote. Addressing the issue of regulation as one of the crucial factors for implementing his vision, Armstrong called it a big open question and noted that it remains to be seen whether the majority of tokens will be recognized as securities. He said that Coinbase does feel a substantial subset of these tokens will be securities. Armstrong added that Coinbase could host hundreds of tokens within years and potentially millions in the future. Wow. In order to become a fully regulated broker, dealer, and other future services that include crypto security trading, margin, and over the counter trading, Coinbase acquired securities dealer Keystone Capital Corporation in addition to Venovate Marketplace Incorporation and Digital Wealth LLC. The acquisition could help the company subsequently expand into non-crypto financial products. Yesterday, Coinbase announced it will launch trading for four more cryptocurrencies for the UK: pound sterling or GBH. British customers will now be able to trade altcoins Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash for GBP in addition to the existing Bitcoin. Wow. Okay. Well, title again, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, 1 billion people will be in crypto ecosystem in 5 years. My little side note, I agree with him.
Oh yeah, I'm praying that it's right. I'm investing that it's right.
Just that article made me think of a conversation that I had with Mike. He on one of our shows way back several months ago, when I said we were talking about with the big fish with the whales swallow up the crypto exchanges, with the big traditional stock exchanges, stock brokerages, would they swallow up these cryptos? And Mike said, no, it's probably happened the other way. And
Mm.
that's what seemed to have happened with the purchase of Keystone. So over time, yeah, they're gonna be all under one roof, you know, trading the same place you go to trade the other currencies and stocks and other securities. You'll be able to do transactions for cryptos.
I think there might be one market difference from the times before. Is this time for a relatively small amount of investment, in the grand scheme of things, people can do their own thing. So there will
Hmm.
be the centralized ones that'll be based in New York or London or Germany or whatever. But then there'll also be a parallel network that's decentralized that you know people will be able to use it for whatever purposes they want, whether it's illicit or you know people trying to circumvent sanctions or whatever.
I think the cryptocurrency revolution or move towards cryptocurrency will be the debt jubilee for a lot of younger folks that are getting into crazy debt that can't live in the system anymore because not only is it too toxic for them, but if they stay in it, they not just is it toxic for them, but if they stay in it, they'll die financially. Going back to the debt point that I was talking about earlier on Dave Ramsey, people they're in 5 to 7 figure debt numbers. These people won't ever get out of it, or there's very few that'll get out of it. So cryptocurrencies is that other market, that other side chain in a sense, or this side economy outside of the regular economy. And then you're going to start seeing more people, as we've already talked about, move to other countries so that they can actually find some type of blue collar work, like we've already seen in that report that Mike V was going through. And you'll see even more in terms of brain power work or white collar work where they're doing more programming and things like that.
I don't know about the crypto to the rescue, saving people from their debt bondage. I think the determinant of that is trading education. It still comes down to people have to learn how to read a chart, how to trade, because there are opportunities now, in today's market, for people to make a lot of money trading. But if they don't learn the basics of how to trade, as well as learning about all of these new technologies that we talk about on the show, they're gonna have to learn that we're gonna have to walk and chew gum at the same time. It's a lot of things we got to take in, at the same time, because the Bitcoin can go back up to 20,000 and more, but if people don't know how to trade, or when they get out, they can lose it all, and it could have been all for naught.
Oh yeah, and that's where you're going to see a lot of some of the younger people that are here that are actually in the space. And when I say younger, I'm talking like under 40, maybe even some cases under 30. Especially that one kid that's the XRP investor. He's like
Alex
big on
Cobb.
YouTube. What's his name?
Alex Cobb.
Alex Cobb. He's the young kid, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, when you start to see people like him, he's going to be the one. He's going to be one of the few that will be that person that ancient in the space at the age of 30. Like he'll be the wise one that we all go to. But I think
Well,
you're going to start to see more of people like him pop up. Sorry.
no, I was just going to mention the dollar bill that I don't think it's so much about the cryptocurrency saving people, but giving people democracy back where it needs to be. Right now, what you see with the U.S. dollar is really beating people down, especially with student loan debt, toxic mortgages, just a whole litany of things. Other countries are jumping our ship. We reported last week that the European Union is looking to create or has created an alternative payment system to do business with Iran to get around the sanctions. This is what people want. This is what the industry, the non-U.S. States want. They want an alternative system. They want an alternative payment system. They want alternative currencies, not to do business with with the U.S. Despite the strength of the dollar, they want something that says I have a voice too. I have a seat at the table now.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that what you just said, Mike V, just to piggyback off of that, it makes me also look and think that a lot of the times we're thinking from an American mindset, like we're thinking from as Americans, but we're not thinking about the millions of people that are on the African continent that are actually in or that are in Russia or the what used to be the USSR that are downtrodden and pretty much on skid rows, or like they're just in shitty places and they have no voice. They have no monetary voice. They're just freaking drinking potatoes and potato water broth. You know what I mean? Like people are living off of stuff like that.
I still need. I mean, break this down for me. How does cryptocurrencies improve someone's economic position or their capacity to pay their debt? I mean, I'm not.
Oh, no. So they're in a sense they're escaping the debt. In a sense, essentially what they're doing is they're going to another monetary system, and that monetary system is the reset. So, for instance, that's like me going over to another country. Like I think it was anti gravity was saying that a lot of people are saying screw it, going to Europe, finishing their degrees, and then going from there. Like they don't have to stay in the U.S. to finish these degrees, or you know, to get these degrees. They can go somewhere else, get it cheaper, get it for less, and then still come out and then even get a job later on. So
Right, but people
essentially,
who are
you're gonna
currently
have this.
in debt, what? How does this help them?
They're gonna move out. They're gonna move away from the system. Is what I'm like saying.
You said they're going to leave America and not come back.
Possibly, they can either leave
Uh,
America and
I
not come back, or
no, I don't think it's going to do anything to the debt. I think this gives, like, for example, in most countries, well, actually not most countries, but in non developed countries, the black market economy is actually larger than the regular economy, so to speak. So
mm,
there's no real way right now in the US for people to do a lot of these other stuff while being out of the eyes of like the IRS and things like that. So I see the cryptocurrencies being a parallel market for people to be able to work and do things without having to pay into US taxes and paying off their debts, at least in that sense. That's what
agree.
I think. I think maybe that's what you were trying to say.
It's a different economy. So essentially, they're not going to pay off the debt because they're not in the system nor the economy that that debt is over their head. They're in a totally different economy, in a sense, a parallel world, another dimension or economic dimension. So you put it a lot better than I did, anti gravity. Thank you. But they're like a parallel economic dimension where the U.S. debt doesn't matter because bitch, I'm not in the U.S. or like I don't give a fuck. It's over there. Have fun. Bye. There's still air over here and food. I can go somewhere else.
And well, I have
Yeah, and
zero. I just want to say anti-gravity. I have zero confidence that people are going to be free of taxes because we
Well,
move to a new currency. I have
no,
zero.
no, no, no. No, the IRS is already making moves to, get people's
no,
cryptos.
I,
Go ahead, Mike.
no, I was just going to say to Dollar Will to answer his question. It's not so much about alleviating people in Haiti out of the debt that they're in, because it's not them that's in debt, it's the nation that's in debt, right? So the burden gets passed back down to them. The
Mm,
objective would be for a nation state to adopt their own cryptocurrency, create their own raw
Venezuela.
resources in that cryptocurrency, which would then allow prosperity to happen on the ground. We saw this happen in Venezuela when
Hmm.
Chavez came to power, and he took back the privatization of the oil industry back to the state, and then he brought 10 million people out of poverty in less than 10 years, in less than 5 years. That's the sort of opportunities that can be created, and I think that's why you see now, um, Venezuela adopt the petro, that if the United States is going to use the dollar as a weapon, then it's only right that Venezuela creates a defense by creating a crypto to allow their oil to be traded in.
And you're also seeing this in China too, because China's trying to create
Absolutely.
another. Yeah, you're trying to see that China's creating a whole nother trade system other than like the SWIFT system in other places, because a lot of people are closed out from the economic system, or a lot of countries that you guys have actually talked about and I've heard through you guys, they're closed out of the system and they can't get into it. So they're creating other systems, or they're creating systems with people um, that are almost like in computer terms, they're considered border gateway routers. So they're intermediaries is actually a better word, that are intermediaries with those systems. So I'll trade with China, and then China trades to the U.S. and all these other countries, and therefore I have greater reach.
Right, and we shouldn't underestimate the power of the SWIFT system. That's why U.S. sanctions
Mm,
for so long have been, feared, is because not only do you get cut off from the banking system, but you also get cut off from a lot of the other means of raising, capital, like either through the IMF or through the World Bank. and then you can't really be like, okay, we're gonna sell our, debt raising, so the countries can't sell their bonds to get money to do development projects like the OECD countries can, right? Like the U.S. Treasury bonds is how they raise money to be able to afford, all of these wars we've been having. So if we couldn't, raise money, we'd be like a third world country. So that's why a lot of third world countries are the way they are, you know, amongst whatever other problems they might have.
Yeah, they're not poor because they don't have resources. It's the guy who supposedly the guy who created Bitcoin, but they're not poor because they don't have resources. They're poor because we don't trade with them.
Hmm. And to want to also answer uh, Tony Lackey's question in the comment section. I'll put the link in the description. I know Mike answered it also, but I came across this article which said there was an error on Coinbase's app that show a full list of cryptocurrencies that they plan to add on their platform. And keep in mind that cryptocurrency Coinbase has always said they're going to add something, but take a very long time to add something. And this is a list of 40 to 45 new coins that they plan on adding to their app, to their platform. It was an error in their app, man. Someone got hold of the list, so I'll put that in the description so you can read upon that. And with
Whether
that,
Or they could have leaked it. That's also
yeah,
another possibility.
whether it's true or not, but I will say I was right, Bitcoin, and I was told, of course, by another friend of mine, Cardano. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I was definitely right on Bitcoin. Just putting that
all
out
right. So let's get to our next topic on the docket. This one comes from MarketWatch.com. U.S. job openings climbed to record 6.9 million, published September 11th, written by Jeffrey Bartage. More workers quitting old jobs for better pay at new ones. The numbers. The number of job openings in the U.S. climbed to a record 6.94 million in July, and a clear sign that a booming economy is entering the second half of the year with a big dollop of momentum. Job openings rose from 6.82 million in June, the government said Tuesday. About 5.68 million people were hired, and 5.53 million lost their jobs in July. Such a high level of what economists call churn is common in the huge U.S. economy. The share of people who left jobs on their own, known as the quits rate, rose a notch to a 2.7% among private sector employees. The record is 2.9% set in 2001. The quits rate was 2.4% among all workers, also near a record high. The government began keeping track in 2000. Workers who switch jobs usually get better pay than those who remain in their old ones, and more people switch when they are confident about the economy. Retailers, job openings increased the most in insurance, finance, and manufacturing. Retailers slashed help wanted ads by 85,000, reflecting ongoing struggles among old line brands and shopping shift heavily toward the internet. Job openings for education and government also declined. The U.S. economy is booming. Growth surged in the spring and has carried through summer. Unemployment is uber low at 3.9%. Layoffs are at 50-year low, and small business owners say they are more optimistic about the economy than ever. Some workers are taking advantage of the strong economy and tighter labor market by switching jobs in search of better pay. As a result, companies are offering more attractive pay and benefits to lure new workers or to retain old ones. Um, that's it. I believe that's the end of the article. And the title again: U.S. jobs opening. U.S. job openings climbed to a record 6.9 million. Any comments on this one?
Wait, who's the person? What's the organization that put out this? Was this news organization?
A market watch.
Hard to watch.
I just want to state the obvious. We got a lot of baby boomers leaving. You know that leaving the workforce. That's gonna happen for. Let's see. I'm the youngest baby boomer. I'm 54, so that's gonna be happening over the next 15 years. that that quit rate is gonna
Right.
keep moving up.
The only thing I see that's a huge problem is, the jobs themselves. They're good that there are a lot of jobs, but I think the bigger problem is, I think we discussed it before, is wages, right? That the article was saying wages are up, but no, they weren't saying wages are up. What were they saying? That people who switched were more likely to get higher pay, or were they claiming
Hmm.
that wages are also up?
The
I
people
think they
who
mentioned a
switch,
section of that.
people who switch are more likely to earn higher pay than those who choose to stay.
Okay, yeah, and I think they also mentioned a part about companies are offering better pay. Is that
Yes.
correct? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm a little bit dubious about that. Wages really have not increased at all. But well, the wages nominally, yes, they have increased, but not enough. Not more than inflation, right? So I think we. I'm a little bit cautious about what was said in this article because I'm not seeing it. Um, I'm not seeing real wages increase.
Hmm. Any other comments on this one? No?
I'll say it was a surprise that with the rate of the 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 quit rate. Did I hear that right? With government work, it has not gone down. Did I hear that correct?
Yes. Government and I forgot. Government jobs have declined. Let me read that verbatim again. It says job openings for education and government has declined.
So job openings have declined. Okay, so that means that they're hiring more people, and uh, so they don't have vacancies. Their vacancy rate is going down because they're
Mhm.
filling the jobs.
Correct.
Those benefits, those good
Right.
government benefits. Okay, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, I thought about a lot of people choose not to. Well, other than the benefits, not to work in government positions because I don't know. I've been told they're soul crushing more than regular jobs. I don't know if this
Can
is true.
be. Can not all, but can be. I've
Okay.
and I'm judging this by the VA and which is a big entity within the government. It can be because you have to work there for so long to to go into retirement that it can be soul crushing.
But I will say this in my career, that was looking back over my work history, the biggest mistake I made was not paying attention to the growth of like the different types of employment categories that opened up in government and the way the salaries in government became more competitive over time. So anybody listening, note what your opinion is about government, but also beware that um, it does things change over time. So
Mm,
whatever the state of uh, things are, with respect to working in government, 5 or 10 years, it could be different. So don't hold on to the opinion you have now about what it's like to work in government. Always test your opinion because I held on to my opinion and salaries because years ago, back in the 80s, government didn't pay as well as private industry, and they caught up. They caught up, and the government is still one of the last places where you can get a pension. So
Right. Well, there's been a talent crunch since the '80s, so it's not. They have to offer more if they want to have the same quality that they used to be able to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it took a long time though for them to realize that they had to offer more than start to do it. And I just stayed, my mind stayed stuck on that bias that government was not responding, not trying to be competitive, and then they corrected it, and I wasn't paying attention. If I was, man, I might have jumped over there.
Hmm. All right. Let's get to our last article on the topic on the docket tonight, and we can open the mic. Title, I mean, not title, I about to say title CNBC. This article comes from CNBC.com. Title, Small Business Optimism Surges to Highest Level Ever, Topping Previous Record Under Reagan, written by John Malloy on September 11th. Article, U.S. small business optimism surged to a record in August as the tax cuts and deregulation efforts of President Donald Trump and the Republican-led Congress led to more sales, hiring, and investment, according to a survey by the National Federation of Independent Business. The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index jumped to 108.8 last month, the highest level ever recorded in the survey's 45-year history, and above the previous record of 108 in 1983, set during the second year of Ronald Reagan's presidency. The August figure was up from a 107.9 reading in July. The NFIB noted record recordings for job creation plans and the amount of owners saying it was a good time to expand. Capital spending plans were the highest since 2007. Today's groundbreaking numbers are demonstrative of what I'm hearing every day from small business owners. The business is booming, the said NFIB president and CEO Juanita D. Dugan in a press release Tuesday. As the tax and regulatory landscape changed, so did small business expectations and plans. Small businesses top have been, excuse me, pause and read that again. Small businesses have been a key beneficiary of Trump's economic plans. The U.S. economy expanded by 4.2% in the second quarter, the fastest pace in nearly 4 years. That is the end of the article. Title again, Small Business Optimism Surges to Highest Levels Ever, topping previous record under Reagan. And I'll leave it there to open mic. Any comments on the article?
They can fudge the numbers all they want. I see retailers, Sears, Toys R Us closing their doors. Um, small businesses are popping up, but that's only because um, you have more technology to leverage, so your cost of startup is a lot less now than what it would have been before. Um, you can basically run your whole entire business off the cloud now. You don't need all this infrastructure that you would have had before. You don't need to have all of the IT acumen that you would have needed before to actually start your tech side up. So yeah, a lot of small businesses are going to start up. That's not uncommon. And anything such as a beauty salon can be counted as a small business. So um,
Say
non-tech
anything
and
but a
tech
beauty
companies.
salon?
No, I'm saying anything including a business beauty
Oh,
salon can be counted as a small business. So um, it's not uncommon that you'll see a barber shop here, a beauty salon here, a Harold's Chicken there. You're going to see
mhm.
those type of small businesses pop up, but they don't really go into detail as to what kind of business it is. And it's not to downplay any barber shops or beauty salons or nail
Chickens.
shops. What is the point of the matter is, I look at it from a black person's perspective, living in America, where we don't have tech center businesses around the black neighborhoods. For whatever reason, they can't get the funding for it, or there's a lack of literacy behind tech startups in black neighborhoods. And that's a part of the whole digital divide, right? You go into predominantly white neighborhoods, you'll see all types of tech startups. If you look at Silicon Valley and look at how Microsoft and Apple and the rest of these companies that started up, they came out of their garages. Those were your small startup tech firms. That's where they started, from the garage. And I think we need to get back to that sort of sort of productivity where we can actually build the next billion-dollar corporation like Apple straight from a garage, or the same Microsoft billion-dollar industry from from the college dormitory. That used to be the startup, and now we don't have that anymore. It's unfortunate that black people are on the losing end of all of this. Especially going into the fourth industrial revolution.
Mm. Any other comments?
No, I was just going to say this is the second time I heard Mike mention Harold's Chicken, so I had to look it up. I've never heard of the chain.
Yeah, Chicago, it's a Chicago chain.
Is it black owned?
Not anymore.
Oh, it was. Okay.
It was. It was. The business was bought out. Um, the not the title was bought out. So not too many franchises are black owned anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what Mike was talking about, how he doesn't really believe the numbers. You can on the stock chart. We're at the highest, made new highs on the indexes, but the volume is low. So even in the stock market, you're not seeing the volume show any real confidence in the price.
Mm.
So I don't know where they're seeing this optimism.
No, it's all they're looking at all the corporate buybacks and they're counting that as some kind of optimism, but not really. It's not real growth, right? It's artificial.
Hmm. Any other? It's open mic night. Only happens 3 times a week.
Did you guys see? I don't have the article right in front of me, but Elon Musk. I think I told you guys he was going to get sued by the SEC, and it's already happened right now. I don't know if
Or
you
what
guys
he
have more
said
information on
about
that.
taking a company private.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. Um, it's isn't it considered insider trading?
No, it's considered fraud. He's
Uh,
defrauding his
Yeah,
investors. Yeah,
stockholders
I
as well.
think. Yeah, they want to. I think from the article I was reading, for him to be banned from being a CEO of a publicly traded company. I don't know exactly what's happening right
He may
now.
have to step down.
Oh, go ahead.
he said, "Man, I have to step down."
Okay. Because if he steps down, that could be, pretty disastrous for Tesla because they're spitting out executives left and right, you know. So you can't really separate
Not
Tesla from
necessarily.
from Elon Musk, at least at the moment. But go ahead, Mike.
Uh, Tesla's not like Apple, where Apple is extremely dependent upon Steve Jobs to drive the future of the company. Tesla already has a roadmap, and they pretty much, I suspected in the past, that they're just going to license out the technology to everybody else and make their profits that way. They don't really intend on being a full-fledged, nonstop, car manufacturer. They just want to be a technology manufacturer, not a car manufacturer, because it's not something that they have the resources for.
Mm. You said they want to
It
be
takes
a
a lot. It takes a lot.
technology. Okay, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they want to make their technology like IBM is in control of. Putting investment into blockchain. They want to put the investments into automotive development and the battery technology, because that's really where everybody's hurting for in terms of the auto industry. Chrysler, uh, Ferrari, and the rest of these companies, they're hurting for because they're trying to play catch up, right? Tesla has a head start on them, and if they can get the technology from Tesla, then it just makes it makes their operations a lot more simplistic and streamlined, where they don't have to do any of the extra labor and investment costs into development, research and development. Um, But you have to look at the opposite side of this. That if you're a small car company, and you need battery technology, you can actually get in a lot quicker by licensing the technology from somebody like Tesla.
Hmm. Licensing the technology from Tesla because they already perfected it.
Well, because they already did it. Why reinvent the wheel? I
correct.
think you're seeing the same thing with IBM, where they're putting up all of these patents. And if you're a small bank or you're some kind of small startup, you don't want to waste time doing research and development on payment systems and whatnot. You just want to adopt the payment system that's going to be the most efficient. You'll probably just go out there and license the technology from IBM.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, I'll say anybody listening, next week, I should get into some serious charting. There's really nothing, nothing exciting to talk about right now, without saying a whole lot of, what might happen. This By next week, we should have crossed some key thresholds in the decline in gold, and maybe the dollar would have crossed a key threshold. So, but we're kind of in the making. Things are in the making right now. So it's a whole lot of maybe and what ifs. I'd rather throw up charts where after these key events have happened. You know?
Well, I have one question for Dollar Bill about gold. But
Yeah.
when are we going to see gold in an attractive range to buy?
With regard to XAU USD, which is our gold, that's the currency pair, gold versus dollar. Low 900s, 910, 9, somewhere in that area. We're a good ways away. I don't think
Are
we're.
we at 1200 right now? I haven't looked at it
Yeah, you
recently.
want to make me pull up this chart? Hold on. Go ahead with something else while I try to pull this up. Hold on.
You done made him pull up a chart on you.
Cause it's kind of
In trouble.
it's kind of abstract to talk about it without looking at the thing you talk.
To answer Tony Lackey's question, yeah, Arabs do own Arabs. Arabs now I believe they also own Sharks. No, JJ's Fish, and I believe they're trying to work on Sharks. Yeah, they. I've seen black people have a very bad habit of doing this. Not the owners who brought the business into fruition, but their children, their offspring, tend to want to sell the business and take the money and not realize that they can make more money throughout their lifetime if they just continue the business and grow it. So they tend to sell the business and take the money.
So who owns Popeyes? I've always wondered.
Hmm.
I thought that was owned by the same people who own Louisiana.
Who owns the state?
No, Louisiana chicken, whatever that is. Church's chicken. I
Oh,
think it is.
church.
Oh,
I
church.
never heard
Okay.
of Louisiana. Okay.
Great. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, you can see it.
Is it on the feed?
Let's check. Yes, it is.
Oh, great. Okay, so what we got here, just kind of give you kind of background real quick. This thing has been falling forever ago, man, since like 2011. So it's nothing new. The good thing about trends, they last a long time. And so in Elliott wave theory, I'm an Elliott wave theory practitioner. Retraces, or what you call downtrends, they happen in ABC pattern. Now, the big controversy in alien wave theory is how you actually make the wave count in this ABC pattern. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe that this whole big decline here is the A wave decline, and this is the B move, and then we're in a C wave, which will go below this. Now, I believe that now the rule is, and so this whole decline from 2011 is what, according to my wave count, is wave 4. Way back in, I think it's like 1983 or 2, somewhere back in there, we had a low of $850. Now the rule is wave 4 can't encroach on the peak of wave 1. Now I believe that we're going to drop down to this area, 1073. This is the current where we are. So I'm calling from this point, this big, massive sideways move. I'm calling that this is going to be A. And we're going to have a 50% retrace. Now, this A move is happening now. So what's feeding my argument is people were getting excited about this bounce here, August the 15th. I'm looking at the date down here at the bottom. August 15th to August 28th, everyone was excited. But in the last couple of days, we broke below this little low right here. So this was just like yesterday. We broke below that low. And this green candlestick today did not make a higher high over yesterday. So I believe we're going to continue to fall. I believe that we're going to continue to fall to this 1073 area. I think gold is going to look really, really nasty, maybe the next month, and then we're going to get a Christmas rally. And in this Christmas rally, gold is going to rise. I believe it's going to do we're going to do a 50% retrace, and my 50% line is about here. Yeah.
What's the dollar amount for that?
Now, again, this is the Forex symbol, XAU USD. I'm saying that we're going to come down to 1073, and that'll be the end of that A wave. That's not the final end. And then we're going to have a vicious Christmas rally. We call it the Santa Claus rally, they call it. And that's going to go up to this 1224 area. Now, this is fuzzy. I'll be adjusting it as we go, but that's my bigger picture. Then now usually we get a rally every year from like Black Friday or sometime in November through the early part of January. Now I don't let those seasonal trends dictate how I trade. I just look at the charts, but a lot of times it does line up that way, that we end up with a rally going into Christmas. And India, they're big gold bugs, and they buy a lot of gold going into the new year. And so this is just lining up perfectly for them. So we're going to have this A wave come here, I believe. And then we're going to have a vicious B wave, 50% retrace. And then we're going to have the final C leg. Going to take us down here to the 886.45. and that works out because it's above the 850 ceiling for wave 1. So we'll see how this goes. None of this, these projections, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times I'm close. It's not the point to be exactly right. It's a sketch. I'm laying out the way Elliott waves work, and I'm using the Fibonacci tool to put these projections in, and it's recorded here. We'll all know if I'm way off base or not. But for the next month, more people will doubt the strength of gold if we take out this low. Okay. But I don't think we're going to take out the 2015 low that we made in December I'm sorry, 2016. Is that it? Yeah. No, no, this is it. November, December of 2015. I don't think we're going to take that low out immediately. I think we're going to come down and stop just short of it. And the time it will take us to go from here to here, I think we're going to get there before we're going to get to this point before Thanksgiving. You know, we'll see. And that'll set us up perfectly for a rally going into Christmas. Now, when we bounce up from here, everyone's going to say, oh, we have a classic double bottom. Gold is safe to buy gold. It's going to look good, you know, getting past Christmas and everything, and then it's going to die. I think it's going to die. And then gold and the dollar's going to, you know, go ridiculous. And when gold gets to be under $900 or in the $900 area, it's going to be so cheap. And it's people going to have a big decision to make, because gold will be cheap. Dollar will be, by that time, should be overbought. It should be fat and happy and ready for a decline. The interest rate cycle of raising interest rates should be, that should be the end of it. Bitcoin and crypto should have died, should have like taken their swan dive to their most depressing low. And so we're going to be sitting at a point in time, I believe, where cryptocurrencies and gold are going to be cheap at around the same time. People are going to have a decision to make. Are you going to buy cryptocurrencies, or are you going to buy gold? Gold is going to be so cheap that every country in the world is going to be buying gold. Countries are going to buy it. It's just going to be too low to avoid. And I'm going to be right there buying gold. You know, I know which one I'm going to favor when it's time. I'm going to favor buying gold. Now, I'll probably buy both, but I'm going to favor buying gold, because there's no risk. If gold when gold gets under $1,000, let alone 900, there's no speculation about what the world is going to do. People everywhere in the world going to buy gold, because that's the safest thing, and it'll be at very depressed price. So you're gonna hear people really talk up buying it and when it falls even to that 1073 level. But I'm not touching it until we get in that $900 level.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not touching cryptocurrencies either until around that time.
I thought you would touch cryptocurrencies when they turn into ETFs.
No, I will buy it when the chart says it, but I'll be buying it via an ETF. And I'm still certain that we're going to get it in ETF form. The demand in the marketplace is too great for it. It's too much money to be made, charging fees, commissions. This is too much money for people like me that want to go into a traditional brokerage and get a cryptocurrency or a basket of cryptocurrencies. But I am bearish gold and bearish cryptocurrency until the dollar finishes that rise, which is going to correspond to gold getting in that $900 level, XAU USD getting into that $900 level. Now, I reserve the right to change my projection if, let's say, in the next month, XAU USD does not fall to that 1073 level, or if it goes shoots significantly below it, then I have to really go through some further study to come up with another projection based on what the technicals are saying. So it could just shoot all the way through it and drop all the way down to 900 without a Christmas rally. We'll see how it goes, but I doubt that. I think we're going to get that rally.
Okay. All right.
So I'm following the charts.
All right. Any other comments for tonight? No?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on our Economics Friday. Remember, all points and things talked, everything talked about in this hangout is of our opinion. If you need professional advice, please visit cfp.net. CFP standing for Certified Financial Planner. There, you can put in your city, state, and zip code and find a certified financial planner in your area. With that said, thank you for coming out. Thanks for listening. Hope you learned something. And if you did, tune back Monday for our Spaces Technology Hangout, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And with that said, I'll check you all on the next one.